Okay. Before anybody comments, I know. Nick Lidstrom, while he was the perfect human and while he was one of the best defensemen to ever play the game, did not achieve that status immediately into his NHL career. It took him a while before he became what he is today, which is all those things I just listed and more. Year 1 NHL Nick Lidstrom was not the perfect human yet. Year 1 NHL Nick Lidstrom was not the best defenseman in the league yet. He debuted in the early 90s, and it wasn't really until like 95, 96, 97 when he was like, okay, this is one of the best defensemen in the entire league, if not the absolute best already. And so, just take this entire video with that idea in mind before we proceed forward, okay? So, our main meat and potatoes of this conversation revolves around Moritz Seider, because if you want to go out there and discuss how he has been doing on the season, yes, he scored the empty net goal yesterday for the Detroit Red Wings, or not yesterday, 2 days ago. I'm recording this video Wednesday, November 10th, so yeah, it's kind of strange. I'm going on a trip later this weekend, so I have to pre-record a whole bunch of videos. Sorry if that displeases you, but as the Red Wings went out there and held the Edmonton Oilers off the score sheet, you had Moritz Seider score himself the empty net goal, putting him up to 2 total goals on the season. 9 assists over there, too. He's got 11 points in 14 total games played. He is one of the top NHL defensemen when it comes to overall points. And that's a pretty big deal, you know? It is. He's only 20 years old, and already he is tied with guys like Tony DeAngelo, Brent Burns, Miro Heiskanen in points, which is absolutely astounding when you really think about it. However, even though he's been getting points and he's been on the power play, he's been getting all these assists, he still has a lot more to his game than just the flashy offensive production, and it's part of the reason why he's even on the team. The Red Wings were not going to give a number 1 defensive spot to some random guy who just knows how to score points. Nah, you have to be able to do well in your own zone, defend well in transition, and just be a good defenseman in general. And I'm here to tell you that based off of the advanced analytics, Moritz Seider's overall ability as a hockey player is so gosh darn good this early on that the closest comparable that we actually have is none other than the perfect human himself. Now again, I have to preface this by saying Nick Lidstrom was not Nick Lidstrom in his first NHL season. It took him like 4 years to become Nick Lidstrom, you know? But here's the tweet from Byron Bader. He does a whole bunch of advanced analytics stuff. He's the creator of the Hockey Prospecting Service, and he's a draft consultant as well. He posted this tweet talking about how it continues to blow his mind that Moritz Seider continues to trend very similarly to Nick Lidstrom. Although, Seider's development pattern is about a year ahead of the great number 5 himself. On this tweet is the graphic of Nick Lidstrom on the left and Moritz Seider on the right, taking a look at these players and their projected NHL equivalency scores comparative to each other. You can see that in Moritz Seider's draft year, he was at about an 8 NHL E-score, which is taking the production he had in the German league and projecting it based off of age, position, and whatnot to NHL comparable numbers. His draft plus 1 in Grand Rapids was a 21 metric. His draft plus 2 in Regla was a 44 metric. What this is trying to illustrate is if you, in theory, took last year's Moritz Seider in Regla and you inserted him into the NHL, because of how good he was in the SHL last year and because of his age and position, he would have probably been about a top 4-ish kind of forward in the NHL had he played last season. Nick Lidstrom, on the other hand, had a similar projection to Moritz Seider, but he had all of these numbers an extra year of development ahead. So Moritz Seider had an 8 NHL equivalency score in his draft year. Nick Lidstrom's in his draft plus 1 was a 9. Moritz Seider had a 21 ranking for his NHL E score in his draft plus 1. Nick Lidstrom had 21 in his draft plus 2. Moritz Seider's draft plus 2 equivalency score of 44 is higher than Nick Lidstrom's draft plus 3 equivalency score of 31. Lidstrom's draft plus 3 season, by the way, it was not his NHL debut year where he had 60 points with the Red Wings because he was actually drafted a year after his first year of draft eligibility. He was passed over in the draft in 1988. Essentially what this last part is saying is that Seider's last year in the SHL was better, by a significant margin, than Nick Lidstrom's final year in the SHL as well. And Seider was younger. You take a look at the star probabilities over here for these players, and the closest NHL probabilities for Moritz Seider are labeled as Mark Barbero, so that's not really a good one. Slater Cuckoo, okay, not a good one there. Kevin Connaughton, you're not really pulling my leg there. Colin Miller, which is a bit better, I guess. And then you have Cale Makar. So, advanced analytics are talking about how Moritz Seider's projected probability, his full closest comparable, is that Cale Makar. Here is the summary from Byron Bader. Seider's draft year and Lidstrom's draft +1, when he was actually drafted, are nearly identical. Seider's draft +1 and Lidstrom's draft +2, nearly identical. Seider's draft +2 and Lidstrom's draft +3 saw similar ridiculous outlier production in the SHL. Not shown on the chart, but Lidstrom made the NHL in his draft +4 season and registered a point-per-game pace of .75. Seider, whose current season has not updated onto the chart yet, because he has not played enough, has made the NHL in his draft +3, and he has a current point-per-game pace of .77. He also mentions that nobody in the database, which is, a pretty big database if you want to look at the advanced analytics and the entire projections of every NHL player to ever exist and actually be notable, nobody in the database looks like Seider or Lidstrom, except, of course, each other. So, when it comes to Moritz Seider, the way he has played so far, leading into his draft season and actually playing into the NHL right now, it's all been at a level comparable to Nick Lidstrom, except he's doing everything a year earlier than Lidstrom did when Lidstrom was this age. Now again, the same argument at the beginning brings itself up. Lidstrom was not fantastic until he was, 26, 27, 28 years old? He played for a long freaking time, but his first Norris Trophy was awarded 10 years after he made his debut. His first All-Star Team appearance was given to him, he made his debut in 91, and his first All-Star Team nomination was in 97, 98, so it took him a while to really become the Nick Lidstrom that cemented himself as the legend he is today. But for Moritz Seider, just having that status of only really having one comparable in freaking Nick Lidstrom, it's pretty good, isn't it? I didn't realize just how good these guys had been. We talked about Lucas Raymond and Gordie Howe and Steve Yzerman. What a list of names to be a part of. And now, for Moritz Seider, the only other defensive comparable we have in Red Wings history is gosh darn Nick Lidstrom, and Seider's besting that? Yeah, that's kind of nutty. That's really nutty, man. I don't really... how do you even comprehend just how good these players have been? These guys are playing like stars, yet they're only 19 and 20 years old, respectively. How much more do you have to wait before these guys are at the top of the league in scoring? Oh, wait, you don't have to wait. They're already there. And hockey players, they don't really get their peak seasons until they're, 24, 25, 26, 27? So, if they're doing this stuff at 19 and 20, what the hell are they going to be able to do when they're 25? What the hell's going to happen when everybody else who is a prospect makes this team? We have ourselves pretty much an anomaly here in that the Red Wings are historically known for really not playing any teenagers and young guys in general, so when you have breakthrough stars who are this good this early into their careers, the comparables are off the charts, and Seider, Lidstrom, Raymond, Gordie Howe, Yzerman, it's just the beginning, I guess. So, let me know in the comments all your thoughts about this entire Twitter thread. I will leave a link in the description to the tweet posted by Byron Bader. The guy does some pretty good work, so I recommend going out there and giving him a follow. But, yeah, you can go ahead and read about the Lidstrom-Seider comparable player card over there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Rolls 99. And, bye.